Hi, this is Sheila from Designs by Baby Moon, and in this video I'm going to show you real quickly how to trim the fringe after stitching out the Highland cow freestanding lace earring design from the Designs by Baby Moon website. So this is a super simple design to stitch out. You're going to really only need two colors of thread. You need one color for the background, the face, the muzzle, and the outline of this design, and then a separate color for the fringe or the bangs of the Highland cow. The cow, you could do it in different colors and have the outline and muzzle be a third color, but just for simplicity and ease of stitching, I have suggested just two colors. So keep in mind that the way the design runs, each earring will stitch separately all the way through, and so the last step of this earring, the muzzle and the outline, will go right straight away into the background of this one, and so that will be one step. So and I do suggest in the tutorial that you change the bobbin thread to match the background and the outline stitch. You can change it again when you do the fringe, or you can simply leave your bobbin thread in place, switch the top thread only, as long as when we're trimming the back, which is what I'm going to show you in this video, you can see which of the bobbin threads you need to trim in order to make the fringe effect happen. So here's one of the finished earrings. This one's done with some gold thread. This is my little golden calf. That's a bad pun. I did not intend for him to be like that. But this is just a calf and a dark gold thread, and then with some light beige bangs. So she looks super cute, and you can see that the bangs fluff up and make a fun little fringe. And this is what the back looks like. And again, I did not switch the color of my bobbin thread. The reason that there is 3 steps instead of just 2 is because this last fringe part needs to be covered up by a satin stitch on the top for the final outline. So it stitches the background first, then the fringe, then the final stitch is the muzzle and the outline all at one step. So when your design gets done stitching all the way through like this is what you have in your hoop. And let me show you how to trim this fringe and then get these ready for dissolving the stabilizer. I'm going to leave my design in the hoop to work on this part because I feel like it's easier when the design is taut. So when it's still at that point where it still feels like a drum. And so I'm going to leave it in here so I can work on it. So I'm going to turn my hoop over. This is the back side of the project. This is the part on my single needle machine that would be down on the bottom underneath. And so this is the wrong side of the project. The first thing I'm doing is I'm trimming off the threads that are the start and stops, the tails of where the machine starts and stops and trims the thread. My machine does cut jump stitches, but no matter what kind of machine you have, you'll always have those start and stop tails. Or if you had to replace the bobbin in the middle of it, you'll have a little tail there too. So I'm just trimming those away and making sure all those starts and stops are gone, and I have a relatively clean background to work on, and I'm not worried about any extra threads. I'm just using the scissors that I would use for applique, but of course you could use snips or whatever's comfortable for you for this part. Now I'm going to get rid of those threads and make sure I got them all. There's one here left, and there's one right here. I just want to make sure all of that's out of the way so I can really see and get a good look at what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the back, and you can tell this is the back because this part, you can see the dark part that is the original bobbin thread, and then you can see the front part coming through where the satin stitch wraps around to the back side and curls under. That's the way it's supposed to be. So your satin stitches for the front will wrap around if your tension is proper, and they will curl over and catch the bobbin thread right here. So they're curled over, holding onto that bobbin thread. We're going to snip that bobbin thread only away. So I have these fine tip scissors, and what I'm going to do is there are 4 sets of these fringe pieces on each cow head that you need to look at. And so I'm going to simply go through the tunnel, the channel that's created for the fringe, and I'm going to snip through those stitches. I have to be very careful that I am not snipping through any of the layers of lace, these kind of diamond pattern right here. I do not want to snip that at all. And if you're just careful and kind of pull these fringe stitches away from the back of the stabilizer just a little bit, you'll be able to get the tip of your scissors or whatever you're using to trim that with. You'll be able to feel how they have a little bit of give, and you can simply snip them away just carefully and quickly, just to release the front of the satin stitch. Okay, so I have 2 lines done. Let's do this third one, and I do like going from top to bottom, just so I can really see what's happening here. And I want to make sure that I'm not trimming any of the part that I don't need to trim. And then this last one right here, I can see a little bit of that bobbin thread. I'm just trimming it away. Snip, snip, snip. Now, if you wanted to, you could also use a seam ripper. But again, you really do want to be careful, and you want to feel to make sure that you are not snipping any of those crisscross stitches underneath. That is the structure of your earring of the cow, and you do not want to snip those, because then your cow will not be stable and hold together. Okay, now that I've gotten most of those stitches snipped, I feel like, I'm going to flip it over and let's look at the front. So this is what the front looks like. This is the cow we were just working on. And I can simply take my fingernail now and release those fringes. Do you see how they just fluff up? And I'm just going to go down all through those 4 rows. There's 4 rows, so I know I need to release that, 4 times. And this one on the bottom, you can see is not fully coming up. And so I'm going to double check on the back here that I snipped the stitches, and I did not snip them all. So I was trying to be careful that I didn't snip any of those backing stitches, but I did not get all the bobbin stitches that I needed to. So I'm going to go back through there. And now I've released more of those bobbin threads, more of the fringe. So you can see in the light there. So I kind of released that, went through that little tunnel where those fringes were created. And now let's see if we can get those to fluff up better. There they are. There's our fluffy fur on the top of our cow face. Isn't that cute? Let's do this one again. So this is what it looks like before we've done any fluffing. Everything's nice and tight and stitched exactly the way it should. Let's flip it over. And on the back, you can see the stripes created because the bobbin tension is correct on our machine. So this is the bobbin thread. The lighter part is what I used for the bangs, and so it's wrapping around, holding onto the bobbin stitches, and I'm going to snip those bobbin stitches away. Now, you might wonder why the bobbin stitches, when I snip through this tunnel, don't come off. Well, they're secured at the top of each section of a fringe. So it's almost like if these are bangs, they have a barrette holding them at the top. And then each layer stitches on top of that. So as you're snipping the bobbin threads off, remember that they're caught on the top. So I'm actually trying to snip down toward the bottom where the top thread is kind of grabbing on from underneath. I'm snipping closer to the bottom than the top of that section, okay? And that just gives me a little bit of extra security that I'm not going to disrupt that top line, that barrette that's holding them on. It is all really secure after the stitching is done. It ties off on each section, so you shouldn't have a problem with any of your good thread, the top thread, coming off at all. But if you feel like you need to, you can always add a little bit of fray check. I have not had an issue with any of my fringe coming out ever, unless I've snipped the top thread instead of just the bottom thread, okay? Just the bobbin thread. Just the bobbin thread is what we want to snip away here, not any of the top thread. So really what my top threads are going to end up being is loops. It's not like actual bangs where they're trimmed all the way across. They're just loops. These are loops instead of just, a fringe that is cut through. And let's rub this off. When I'm rubbing it off, I'm actually getting a little shower underneath here of all the bobbin threads because they're falling apart. See, there goes some. So it's just releasing those bobbin threads. Sometimes they end up on top. And then I just want to make sure I get as much of those out as possible. Now they're all over my desk here, which is fine. I'm just going to use my handheld vacuum cleaner to suck those up after they're done. But there are our fringy cow bangs. So you can double check again, you know, go through each layer and see if you missed some of the fringe from trimming on the back. And maybe before you start trimming again, just rub your finger or your fingernail across that fringe and see if you can get it to fluff. And if it will not fluff, double check on the back that you released enough of the bobbin thread. And then you can simply just play with your fringe until it's as fluffy as you like. And now we can remove the project from the hoop, set our hoop aside, and we can cut away the bulk of this stabilizer so we don't have to wash, we don't have to get all of this wet. We just have to rinse away what was holding our stabilizer, holding our earrings in the hoop as we were stitching them. So let's just trim this away. These are not the best scissors for trimming, but that's okay because it's what I've got right here. So I'm just going to trim this away. You don't have to get very close. And this is it. This is the part that we would take to the sink, run this under hot or warm water, and then let it dry. And once it's dry, you can add your hardware and you'll have a finished, cute little Highland cow earring. Isn't that adorable? I hope these get you in the mood for sewing. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.